Hi, this is Dana, and I will talk in this video um, somehow about the spiritual journey and the meaning of spiritual guides. Um, we work in our spiritual work and path. We work on breaking bondages, and essentially, to me, it comes down to one thing: um, we are on our way home to God, basically. Long time ago, there's been a draconian implant put on Earth to separate the Earth from the divine realm, to sort of create a barrier between above and below, right? So you won't have as above as below. That's the basic thing that all of this experience comes down to. And this at individual level comes down to a separation in consciousness, so you cannot connect to the divine as you should, because in a normal reality, essentially, you being oneness, having integration and between subconscious and conscious, that means that you're in direct contact with God continuously, everyone, every single individual. Okay. That is very much done on soul level, right? But the draconian implant has the purpose to disconnect the subconscious and conscious level, and most of the programming and the tax is done on the subconscious level, on the inner child, right? This is why it's deceiving, and this is why it breaks the astral laws, because it doesn't give free will to individuals, right? So this is really important to actually pause and think of each of on these concepts. There's certain, I don't know how to call them. They're called principalities, whatever. Essentially, gangs of dark entities and individuals who lost their soul, and they fell so much that they made deals with underworld entities, with outer cosmos forces, in order to transform this 3D reality into their kingdom. And they are lords of these principalities, and they are the ones doing all the attacks and programming on the subconscious in order to detach you from the divine realm and from God, so they can actually create their own world out of this, which is not possible in the end. I firmly believe it's not possible, simply because this is the individual, and the world itself is created by God, the earth itself. So you cannot actually take something which is not yours. This is why, no matter how low a fallen angel will go, the soul will stay with God. God will take that soul. This is why they lose their soul, right, when they do this. But they do keep hostage the spirit, and they do work with spirits in different ways. Anyhow, at each level, so there are certain levels in this path of going back home to God, right? And at each level, call it as you like, doesn't matter to me. I'm not big on labels. At each stage, there's a group of principalities and dark entities, or individuals working with dark entities, which is trying to stop you from each upgrade. Each upgrade is basically a step back home, or a step forward on your spiritual path, so you can get back home to God. This is the basic thing. Now, in order to get there, you need to defeat these entities, this darkness, these principalities, these individuals, fallen angels, and so on. For this to do the spiritual fighting, you need to break. You need to do the spiritual fighting, and you need to broke bondages. Much of it is hidden bondage. You don't necessarily, you cannot see it. It's not out there. So you need to do much work on healing and so on prayer and connecting to God, so you can actually get moving on this path. Even with the in energy upgrades that God is doing, still is hard, because much of it is hidden information. Okay. And it's mind blowing. I've been doing spiritual fighting for like more than 4 years now, consciously, dealing specifically with bondages, with scripts, with the parallel realities. I'm not talking about the spiritual work before that. I'm talking about strictly spiritual fighting consciously. right? And working on investigation of hidden bondages and methods to break them, and so on. And I can tell you that doesn't matter how much experience you have, it's mind blowing, to the degree to which they lower themselves to do the most uh, unbelievable things. Um, Anyhow, moving on, because I decided from the beginning that today I would speak only about positive things, so I'm not gonna go into that negative part. What I want to say is, on this path, as you do a spiritual fighting to break hidden bondages, your main focus is to move forward, break bondages, find out bondages, take gifts back, activate gifts, take your rights back. As soon as you do the spiritual fighting and break bondages, God will make justice for you, as you claim justice and judgment and punishment on others, and then you get your rights back, okay? And you also get activations of gifts. This is how you move on. This is how you move on, going back home to God. This is the path. Now, for because it's so hard and it's so hidden, so much of it, then you clearly need help from the divine in order to be able to, um, I would say, to understand. But sometimes you don't even understand the full picture. You just follow instructions from spiritual guides, from God, and then you figure out on your path, after, sometimes even after you got more than halfway into breaking a bondage, you figure out what it's all about. And to be honest with you, because I finished, and I broke a situational karmic cycle at the end of last year, and many generational curses on my lineage at the last karmic board meeting. I now understand that if much of it, much of the essence of it, it's being revealed to you by the karmic board after you finish breaking that bondage. So I fought for years and years. I broke bondages. They repeated recreating them in different forms through different people. I kept fighting and fighting and breaking them and fighting and breaking them. And with each bondage that I broke, I understood one more piece of the puzzle, and so on. And by the end of it, I did have a clear picture, but there are so many details and so many important issues that I didn't actually, were not revealed to me actually until the end of it. And it was revealed after I finished, after the karmic board explained, told me that you won, you finished breaking all of them, you broke the generational curses. And after that, each day, even now, I still have meetings with the karmic board where they reveal to me things, and still it's shocking to me what I learn, after all of this. And this is why you need the spiritual guides, because I with each and every day that passes, and I work and I do this, I realize that no matter how much you understand, and even if you keep contact and do mystic prayer, and you keep contact with God constantly 24 hours a day, and you devote your entire being and your entire time to doing this, still you cannot understand everything until you're done with it. Only when you win, actually, there are things which are being revealed to you only after you won the war, you know. So this is why I emphasize, and I think talking about spiritual guides is important, although normally I wouldn't have thought about talking about this topic, because it seems simple to me. Spiritual guides help you in your spiritual fighting, so yeah, of course it's beneficial. I guess everyone understands that. But now it becomes to me so obvious how important this is, particularly from this perspective, as even now, after so many days after the karmic board meeting of December 21, 2021, only now I still have discussions with the karmic board where I knew um, facets of the situations which I completed breaking, um, only now are being revealed to me. And it's being shown to me that, of course, beyond that, there is another bondage to be broken. Okay. So anyhow, this is why I want to emphasize, and I decided to speak today about spiritual guides, trying to put somehow in perspective something which to everyone, I'm pretty sure everyone who's doing spiritual fighting, is like a no-brainer. Yeah, spiritual guides are important, of course, but to me only now it becomes clear how important they are, and how complex all of this it is, and how much is hidden from us, and much of the fighting, because it's deception, you know, much of the fighting seems so silly and stupid, but only when you get to this point, or closer to this point, actually it's being revealed to you that this is really like a really, really, really serious thing, where outer cosmos forces, important forces, dangerous forces are involved. And I guess I imagine that God reveals this at a later stage, so you won't get scared on your path, because some of it is really, I don't know if scary or frightening. Personally, I wouldn't take it this way. I wouldn't feel scared of them, uh, as I have seen their faces throughout my fight, through the individuals who are attacking me. But it's just, I don't know, it's really something very, very complex and of extremely high relevance, as nobody will understand until they get to this point. This is why I place a lot of emphasis on it at this point in my experience. So, talking about spiritual guides, then I will say that to contact your spiritual guides, of course, you will use meditation, you will use prayer. They will come to you as you ask help from God. All the spiritual guides that come to you, you will encounter spiritual guides connected to the bondage which you are currently working on to break. Okay? So, not all your spiritual guides will come all at once, they will come to you as you need them. So, if you're breaking one bondage, those spiritual guides who are connected to that bondage, or have abilities that would help you um, um, access your gifts to break that bondage, only those will come to you. Okay, that means you have to keep your options open, and understand that throughout your spiritual path there are still many spiritual guides to come to you. Okay, um, so this is why you can meditate and pray, and then be open, because you don't know what spiritual guides will come to you, because you don't know who is able to help you. And the spiritual guides that come to you are usually those who have authority in that field. Okay, so like for example, Jesus helped me when I had to go through Horus gates, right? Because that's underworld experience, and the underworld fighting. And because I've seen that with my own eyes as I went through that, through the spiritual fighting, in through Horus gates. And I saw that each and every spirit there, and every entity, is deeply frightened by Jesus. So he has tremendous authority in underworld. um, Anyhow, I just gave you one example. So you have to keep an open mind, because you don't know which spirit guides will come to you. You don't know who can help you. And usually when a spirit guide comes to you, he will open an entirely new perspective over that bondage, which will open doors for you to understand, and will activate gifts for you to understand how to differently approach that issue, to be able to break it. Okay, I said in the previous video, tarot cards are portals. Okay, so these are not. I have, for example, I don't do on my channel tarot, public tarot readers, or private tarot readers, readings, or anything. But I use tarot cards for my own purpose, and usually I don't use so much for readings, but I use to connect with spirit guides, with spiritual guides. Okay, and for example, this is a tarot card from my tarot deck from Druids craft, um, and is because they are this is the latest spiritual guide I received now at the end of this spiritual karmic cycle which I broke. So because they have something to do with the next stage and the next bondage which I will be breaking and working on. Icons, religious icons as well, are portals. And I wrote on my Facebook page, there's a special, and I explained that there's a special connection you can build with your icons. And usually, I mean, throughout my entire life, I had direct communication with saints through icons. And when I say direct communication, I mean like speaking with them or them speaking to me, asking questions, receiving answers my entire life. And that was way, way, way before I started my conscious spiritual fighting. It was just part of my mystic prayer and my mystic way of life, which was very private until I was forced to make it public. Okay, there are ancient sites in the world. There are very famous ancient sites where you will get activations. Those sites have a connection to the one bondage that you have to break. You get activations there, and even if you don't know it, if you go there at the proper time, usually you go there, you think you're visiting. I used to go very often to visit ancient sites, and um, I got activations at many of them. And of course, you at that time you think that you thought of going there, but actually there is a spiritual guide who is guiding you to go there at the proper time, and you will get an activation of a gift there, and the spiritual guide will connect with you. Okay, that I speak from experience as well. Of course, you can get new spiritual guides if you want, and create a special relation with your own spiritual guides, or if with the new ones that you desire to have on your side to help you, by claiming and breaking bondage for them. I did this for some of my spiritual guides. I did claim bondage for Jesus, for example, for Virgin Mary, and for others. I claimed, and for other saints which are very dear to me and have been accompanying me throughout my life and helping me, giving me guidance, what to do in certain circumstances, helping me in many ways. Um, so you can reestablish truth for them, okay? And you can break a certain bondage for them, if as they are not incarnate and they are not in 3D. There's a lot of bondage created on them, so you cannot connect to them. Okay, so you're under the public is the public here in 3D is under some sort of spell or bondage. um, so they don't understand a certain dimension about that spiritual being, and then you can claim that bondage to break it, to help your spiritual guides, because while you do this, is essentially is opening up ways for people to connect to them. Okay, so you're doing good, of course, in one way, if you want, for that spiritual being, but you're doing good in him, for him, in a way, in a different way, namely that you enable him to connect to more people which become aware of a reality which has been hidden before. So you enable him to do more good. I say him, but it can be she as well. So you enable them, the spiritual being that is your guide for whom you break bondage, you enable him or her to connect to more people in different ways, so they will do more good and help more in this spiritual fighting which we are all called to do. Okay, so this is something, but of course I must say that each and every bondage that you claim for a spiritual being as a spiritual guide could be complex, but that also gives you beneficity, because you're doing not only a good deed, but you're doing something special To me it seems no brainer. To me, like, claiming bondage for Jesus is like, I feel like I would be such a hypocrite. He's my guardian in spiritual realm, and he's been helping me so much all my life, every day and every night. I mean, I don't go to bed without praying to Jesus. And so, um, and I think it's only hypocritical to ask and pray for help and not be willing to do the same in exchange for the spiritual guide. I broke, I claimed. God keeps pushing me now to say, yes, I did claim and break bondage for God Himself, for the same reason. I think it's hypocritical to sit here and ask help from them, and not be willing to do the same for them, to break bondages for them. I think that should be self. I mean, that should be just normal thinking for everyone. Um, but indeed, it is more challenging. The bondages for them are more challenging, but they will help you do that. They will help you break those bondages. And again, you gain your own beneficity for doing that. They will be closer to you. You will just take more steps on your ascension path. I think, I don't know, God is pushing me to talk about this, but it just, to me, it seems like just very logical. I don't know what to explain about it. It seems very self-explanatory. That you, of course, you will get more beneficity. Yeah, so you will get an upgrade for that, and you will get gifts and rewards and so on. It's normal, I think. Well, this is I think what I have to say now, because the video already is a little bit long. I think the main message is that we are on the way back home to God. 3D is only sort of like a hostage situation where they created a completely fake reality, um, which is essentially focused on enslaving people in many different ways, either by consumerism and material interests, or by different faults of traits of character, faulty traits of character, envy, competition, hate, jealousy, and so on. And so it's just a hostage situation. And in order to get back home, you must do this, and you must fight these principalities, these entities, these outer cosmos forces, which you must understand that they come to you through people. They come to you through people. Yeah, so you have to do the spiritual fighting, and in this whole picture, you need the spiritual guides to help you. It's the most important help you get. I'm sorry. I think somebody's not happy with me saying this. Is the most important help you get. Sometimes it's, I don't even have enough words to say. Sometimes it's just, feeling them close and upholding you, giving you hope, and making miracles for you, just so they will show you that they're there next to you, and that you can make it, and so on. And talking to them and praying to them will definitely help you. I'll have to say, probably here now, it's already too long, this video. I ask Jesus always, for example, for help, or Virgin Mary. I ask for help even when I don't like something that God is making me do. I must say this. For example, I keep saying, I ask Jesus, please find a better way for me to do this. I don't like it. I don't like to do this. I don't. There must be a way in which we can switch and rearrange this issue, so I can feel more comfortable in working through this, but still achieving what God has requested of me. And I will at some point achieve the level which God wants me to achieve, either in I don't know, giving up the ego, or in so many other ways. But I don't want to do this right now in this very way. So always, and I must tell you, Jesus many times stepped in And he helped me. He helped me in terms of finding a better solution, um, um, adapted to my level of understanding and of ability to cope with huge challenges which were in my way. So I tell you from experience, if you talk with your spiritual guides openly, they will help you to find God. For example, Jesus told me many times, um, um, I was human too. I know what it means to go through this. When you're in that, in the limitations imposed by the human condition, okay? So he will find a better way to do for you to do that, to achieve what you're supposed to achieve, but still adjust it to that particular situation and to your particular. He will, for example, I'll give. I wrote, and maybe I'll make a different video. Yeah, I wrote already on Facebook many times. There were situations in which God revealed to me different bondages that people have done on me, and initially when this started, when God started revealing to me all this, I was mad with anger. I was like, "What the fuck you say you did?" I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, you know. So I reacted immediately, and I said, "I want justice now. No, no, no." And God said, "Yes, but you have to pray." No, I want now. I want now justice, just now. I want to confront them. And God said, "No, you don't confront them." I said, "Yo, I want now. I want now. I want them confronted. I cannot leave until tomorrow until I confront them." And I was so angry, so really pissed off because it was uh, absolutely beyond any imagination what they actually had the guts to do. And I'll tell you that many times Jesus would come with me because he understood the frustration and the deep injustice that was done to me, and he understood that that was a blockage for me as a human in that moment. So he understood that in order to cope with the situation and move on into fighting, I need to get that frustration out of my system. I need to go say, I would say to God, no, I just want to smack their face. I want to spit in their face right now, right now. I don't want to wait for you until you make justice. I want now. This is not going to be justice, but I'm not going to play dumb, and I'm not going to pretend I don't know. And God would say, don't go because they will do worse. I don't care. I don't care what they will do. I want them confronted right now. And Jesus would come with me and he will show me. I was never reckless to go by myself and do whatever, you know. But I would turn to Jesus and I would say, I want now. I want now justice. I want them confronted now. I don't want to wait. When I heard that the church priests have done these bondages on me, and they done witchcraft on me, and they have sent um, sexual demons to me because they were involved in these local and regional gang stalking mechanisms, and they were essentially running prostitution networks or whatever you want to call those group things that they do and stuff. And I was like so outraged because I was like, you're the priest, you're the church, what the fuck you mean to send me sexual demons? How is this possible? And I was outraged, literally outraged. I was like, anybody on the face of the planet can do this, not the church. Not the church. You're not allowed to do this. And I simply I said no. The church is not theirs. We don't go to church for them to do this to us, and I want them confronted right now. I'm not gonna wait for you to make justice. I was saying to God, I want now. I just want now to confront them, and I did. I turned to Jesus, and I always do actually turn to Jesus when I was unhappy with something like this, and I said, please help me now. Please help me now have a way of releasing this. I cannot move on. I'm stuck in this. Actually, it's too shocking to me. I cannot move on. I cannot learn that the priest that to which I confessed for 15 years have been selling my wedding vows and making contracts on me with a matrix. I cannot cope with this. I just can't. I thought of this man as being highly connected to God and taking me to God, and I thought of him highly, as more than my father, you know. And he has done this to me. He has done this to me. He has made money, and he purchased a house out of money made through contracts sold on me. And to me, it was such a shock. It was such a shock. I simply said, I just need, I need something now. I need, in order to move on from this, I need to go and say something. I need to go confront this. I cannot move on from this. And Jesus did help me, and he actually came with me to church, and he told me to um, claim justice, judgment, and punishment during the liturgy in front of the altar, and I did so. And I had a confrontation with a priest who has sent those those witchcraft works on me. And actually, I confronted him. God wasn't very happy, but I spoke to Jesus, and I went with Jesus, and I said to him, because you send this shit to me, I'll come each and every single day at each and every liturgy, and I will stay right next to you, so you will feel the demons that you have sent to me. And I did so 4 months. Each and every liturgy, I went to church, to the same church where he was doing liturgy. In order, this was what Jesus gave me as a solution. You know, when I said I want them confronted, he said, "You claim justice. You come with me. You don't bow. You don't touch anything. You come to the altar. You claim justice in front of him. The priest was there, and then you come here each and every single day. So you will bring to him what he has sent to you." So it wasn't necessarily my idea; it was Jesus' idea, but it was upon my prayer, because he knew I was too infuriated. I was outraged, literally outraged, because I was like, "This is church. This is the priest. How can you do this to me? How can you do this to me?" So he said, 4 months. I went each and every single day, each and every single liturgy, um, because Jesus said, "You will take to him until he releases those demons which he sent to you. You will go to him each and every single day. You will stay there all day long." I even paid um, for to stay and for a few days in the monastery, because you can pay in the monastery to take a room and just stay there for a few days. So I even paid for to stay there, and Jesus, and the other days I would stay at liturgy, and I would just stay around in the courtyard of the monastery, or just praying in the church.